I guess I put it this way. How do you feel about all the announcements they made? Are you like, did you feel pretty good about them? Did you feel like, did you think that was more than you expected sort of stuff or?
Okay. So I was going into it being like very cautiously optimistic, and I was surprised. I think Villains Land put it over the top for me. If we hadn't had that, I probably would have thought like, okay, it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, the question people are going to ask inevitably is like, is this enough of an answer for Epic Universe? Inevitably, that is what people are going to ask.
I mean, some people will. Some people don't care about Epic Universe.
Some people don't.
Fine.
But I think, but again, these things wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
I agree with you for the most part. I think I wasn't surprised. Now I was surprised how they did the cars, but I wasn't surprised Cars was there. When it comes to the Animal Kingdom stuff, we basically had expected all of that, and we've talked about before about Encanto and tying it with Antonio, like with the animals. Like, okay, does Indiana Jones belong in Animal Kingdom? He's an archaeologist, so you can make an argument for it. It's a little shoehorned in, but it is more stuff to do in Animal Kingdom. And at this point, everything Disney does is going to be an IP.
And so, as I said earlier, and I forgot to mention this, Tropical Americas, I think it fits okay in there. I mean, you have Africa, you have Asia, now you have Tropical Americas, or basically South America, Central America. It's just like areas of land in the earth.
Yeah.
And then how you incorporate animals.
The one that just doesn't make a ton of sense is just Indiana Jones.
Well.
It's just sort of there. But
we have Avatar land.
Right. That's what I mean. So as everything's an IP, at some point, everything's become shoehorned in at some level.
Yeah.
With IPs like that.
I mean, that's true.
But again, it's getting more things to do. So
are you excited?
Well, that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah, okay.
So we had that. And then when it came to, I didn't expect at all Monsters, Inc. That one was complete. Now, that one I actually think fits in Hollywood Studios really well. I think
better than the other parks.
I think this is what Hollywood Studios was made for, was stuff like this. That you walk into, the movies and the stuff like that. And then when it came to Magic Kingdom, I do agree with you. I think it would have been pretty underwhelming if it wasn't for Villains. And again, I think Villains... You probably could have had a few other announcements that didn't do anything if Villains was the main focus. I really do think it has that much potential. I think the fan base and stuff like that would like it enough. In terms of did I like it, I did, but at the same time, here's where I'm at with all this stuff. I have a hard time getting really excited about things given the track record. And the track record being all this concept art looks really cool, and then eventually things just get scaled down and scaled down.
You've been burned too many times. Well,
it's not being burnt. It's just being realistic, I suppose. I'm not. I know. Again, people are going to look at me and be like, "Oh, Jared's being a Debbie Downer." I'm not. I'm simply looking at this, being like, "Okay, I will wait and see it." And hopefully, they do all the stuff that they said they're going to do, and it looks like the concept art, and it's great. I really do hope that, but I'm not going to get overly excited about something. And that's kind of how my personality is. That sounds really cool.
He doesn't get excited very much.
But I will wait and see until it's done before I really get, oh, this is really coming sort of thing. But all these new things, that's great and good, and it's exciting, and you want to see it come. The one thing, though, that I do, and I don't expect them to announce this at a D23 Expo event because they wouldn't be sexy or be like, oh, yeah, but let's get maintenance back on track. Let's get rides that we open that are reliable. And yes, I'm looking at Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Mm-hmm. And the rumors I'm hearing about that is it may have to go down to be fixed with the issues with that. So
they're still going to open it in November in Disneyland, though.
That's what they said. So I would like to see this site maintenance get fixed. The rides that open and they work well and they're enjoyable. They're not a letdown for people. I'd like to see, I know there's been a lot of people complaining about cast member interactions. They're like, let's get back to the things that made Disney do. Let's bring back Magical Express. Let's do all these little things that used to do that made Disney unique and special. Because I kind of feel like, and I know people probably laugh at this, as much as I do like what Universal is doing, Disney's not Universal. Mm-hmm. Disney has always done things a different way. They've done things the Disney way. Mm-hmm. And I don't like seeing Disney try and become Universal.
That's a wonderful point.
I want Disney to be Disney.
Absolutely.
And so the more that, and I feel like a lot of these announcements are them, and they've been doing this for a while where it's they're trying to counter Universal and they're slowly becoming Universal.
IP lands?
Yes. Yeah. And that's not what Disney as well. There's a reason that Disney was so different and unique. And it was the little things that made them special. It was called the Disney difference. People talked about it all the time. Mm-hmm. And, I can tell you comments on videos and all over, Twitter, X, whatever, on accounts that are dedicated to Disney, and people have these complaints that are just the things that they used to do, the little things are just not there anymore. That's what I hope that they also do with all of it. All this new stuff, that's great. Like, build it, do it. It's exciting, but it's also going to be all for naught at the same time if the maintenance is still a mess, if you can't keep the rides running, if the customer service isn't where it was, all these other things like that. So let's get that on board as well. And again, I'm not expecting Josh Timar to be like, and guess what? We're doubling maintenance budgets. And people are like,
No, that's a very valid thing to say. Absolutely. You know, if your parks aren't running correctly, then when you put new stuff in, it's like, isn't anybody going to be there to do them?
Right. And so what I want, I want a theme park war. I want Universal and I want Disney to be at each other's throats. Theoretically speaking, of course.
I think we're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're there.
And I want them to be performing at their best to get your attention and your money, because at the end of the day, you know who wins in that scenario? The customer.
We do.
We get cool stuff. They compete on prices. They compete on experiences. They compete on customer service. That's what I want. I want peak theme park performance from both of them and to get awesome things for years to come.
That was theme parking with Jared Lee.
And and that's a very positive outlook on it, I think.
It is. It is very.
The big thing, obviously, was a lot of it was focused on Disney World. Disneyland got some good stuff too. I think I think a lot of the people in the Disneyland area were happy.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like what I said before stands, and we'll just see how this all develops, and if we get further timelines. I kind of think Disney may just take the approach of doing this announcement, not saying anything else until the next D23.
Maybe they gotta have something else to talk about,
right? And they basically alluded to. I mean, Bruce Vaughn had said, and they kind of made this thing about this is about the next decade. I feel like what they laid out here is all the stuff they're going to be coming out with in the next decade. So it would make sense that they're just gonna, they announce and then in 2 years we get further details, because maybe then they can say it's opening in a year or two from that point. So while this isn't blue sky, it's I'm not gonna say blue. It's like in the middle between blue sky and like super, super duper concrete. It's like right in the middle there. It's like, I believe when they're happening, but someone brought up a good point as well. Bob Iger is going to appoint, a new CEO, presumably sometime soon.
Yep.
When a new CEO comes in, do they stick to these budgets? And again, a lot of people are assuming too, like, what if the company continues to, struggle with Salem Disney Plus, or the park continue to not do well? Do they stick to these budgets and spend the money on this stuff? And that's the thing.
Right. I mean, they only know what they know now.
They know what they know, but that is the thing you got to think about with, like, I mean, Iger, I don't imagine is going to be at Disney to see a lot of this get built, at least some of this.
Oh, I mean, except for the stuff that's opening in 2025, and no, he won't. I mean,
he'll be around in an advisory role. So whoever replaces him, again, are they going to? I mean, you would presume that they would stick with this stuff, but there are some questions, and some of it is probably outside their control on some level. But I do think the competition with Universal and Epic Universe, I definitely think that is something that may actually help keep them on track and really get aggressive. Now, hopefully, they don't do what they normally do with construction and take a long time. Maybe they get on their horse and they really get this stuff built quick.
We'll see about that.
That would be great, but I think that's where the questions lie. But as of right now, it's exciting, and I will probably won't hear anything for a while on the rest of this stuff.
Yeah.
If I were to guess.
Yeah. But I'm overall happy kid. I'm a happy kid.